Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Yesterday was the 60th anniversary, not of a event, but a breakthrough treaty that was signed, the Indus Water Treaty. Normally treaties are no better than scraps of paper. Some are supposed to be great, and this was one treaty that is still deemed to be landmark in the history of the subcontinent and, in fact, in the world. It is cited as an outstanding example of the possibilities of peaceful coexistence that exist in the two countries in spite of the troubled relationship since the midnight of August 1415, when the country was divided into two. There has not been a single day of real friendship and cordiality between India and Pakistan. There has not been a single season when the people have not been convulsed by the possibility of either terrorism or the threat of war or any other rumbling. Possibly only during Muradi's time when Pakistan offered the highest civilian award to him. For a couple of months there was a bonhomie. But in spite of all the disputes, Indus Water Treaty has withstood the test of time. But is it appropriate to continue with this as it is? I think it's high time that we give it a fresh look. It's grown old, decrepit, practically useless. Well-wishers of the treaty often dub it as uninterrupted and uninterruptible. Both are wrong. It is uninterrupted, but it's not uninterruptible. The World Bank played a pivotal role in crafting this treaty. So they continue to take particular pride in the functioning of the treaty, not considering the changed times. The role of India as a responsible upper riparian state, abiding by the provision of the treaty, has been remarkable. But the country has to rethink to what extent it can remain committed to the provisions, considering the overall political relations with Pakistan, which are intractable. No treaty is ever written in stone. As a matter of fact, treaties are for the mutual benefit. And this treaty is absolutely lopsided and it gifted to Pakistan the great gift, causing a loss to the Indian farmers, Indian economy. It was not equitable water sharing. Back in the time, participating in the Indus River system was inevitable. That's true. In 47, when the India became independent and Pakistan came into being, the partition took place. Naturally, all the assets had to be divided. So sharing formula devised for the water sharing after prolonged negotiations sliced the Indus system into two halves. There are five rivers of Punjab. The three western rivers, Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, they were given to Pakistan absolutely. And the eastern rivers, Satluj, Ravi and Beas, they were given to India. So that was equitable. But the fact remained that in reality, India gave 80.52% of the total water flow to Pakistan. The country much smaller in area, much smaller in population, got 80.52%, more than three-fourths. And not only that, India also gave 83 crores of rupees in pound sterling to help Pakistan to build replacement for the canals which it had lost. But the excellent canal system of Montgomery that was not valued. Such generosity on the part of India was absolutely stupid and foolish. No upper riparian state in the world has ever done so, given 80% of the water along with 83 crores of rupees in pound sterling. So you can well imagine. India considered its upper riparian status on the western river so that it can have a complete right on the eastern river. Water was critical for India. It was vital for the eastern rivers for the proposed Rajasthan Canal and the Bakra Dam. So, just to buy peace, they gave 80% of the water. And still, there was a resentment in Pakistan. India got 33 million acre feet of eastern water. According to Pakistan for a song, no. They forgot that they had got 80% of the water and 83 crores. But Nehru was conscious that the Bhakra Canal should not be at the cost of reduced water supplies to Pakistan. Now, this was a tragedy. He was concerned with India, but he was equally concerned with Pakistan. He forgot the adage that charity begins at home. He has been criticized, and I have always said God, he was great. But this was one mistake he committed. There were three mistakes Nehru committed: China, Kashmir, and this water. So he did not want Pakistan to suffer, and this treaty was signed. Now, this happened, but contrary leadership considers the sharing of the water as an unfinished business. What is disputable today has nothing to do with the Indian projects, has nothing to do with the water sharing, but whether the Indian projects on the Western River, particularly in Jhelum and Chenab, are adaptable, are in conformity with the technical stipulations. Being a lower riparian state, water flows from India to Pakistan. Pakistan's capitalism allows it to increasingly politicalize the issue. It can always say, well, the person who is weak, who is smaller, always says, well, the big bully hit me. Howsoever benefit you might give it, it always takes advantage of its smallness. And that's what Pakistan is doing. And that's a tragedy that India is shamed into. Such charitable business which strikes at the roots of its own economy. So after giving 80% of the water, after giving 83 crore, they started sharing water still more. And not surprising that it maintains high troop levels and alertness on the canal that India is spending on the eastern front because they're afraid. Now clearly, the Indus Basin receives considerable international attention. It's true. I remember when David Lilenium, who was head of the TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, and Atomic Energy Commission, he visited India. And he said that possibility of another Korea is there because of this Indus water issue. So World Bank stepped into and then the water treaty was signed. Every now and then, people in India, economists, always say this treaty should be abolished. It should be abrogated, even considering the cross-border terrorism and Pakistan promotion of that terrorism. Government has not done it till now. I don't know why even Mr. Modi has not done it. Any attempt towards this would require a number of political, diplomatic, hydrological factors. The treaty has remained uninterrupted. It is because India respects its signatory and values transboundary rivers as the important indicators of peace. But there have been several terror attacks on India. 2001 on the parliament, 2008 Mumbai, 2016 Uri, 2019 Pulwama. And they were sufficient handles for India to abrogate Indus Water Treaty. India would have been within its rights, as per the Vienna Convention, to withdraw from it, but India did not do so. So no what's required. We need to renegotiate the treaty. This treaty, which is highly in favor of Pakistan, needs to be renegotiated. It might have served some purpose when it was signed, but everything has a time limit. Old things need to either to be re-energized or buried. They have either to die or to be given a new lease of life with artificial knees and artificial heart and things like that. This treaty has been there for 60 years, lived through the trials and tribulations of 4 wars, innumerable terror attacks, is grown weak. It needs urgent replacement of organs, or it needs a decent mercy killing. It depends on the government of India, but it has to be done. It might have been good at one time, but today, with a new set of hydrological possibilities, the realities, the advanced engineering methods in dam construction and desiltation, we need an urgent look at the fresh. Now, Article 12 of the treaty says it may be modified from time to time. So, the treaty itself has a major aspect that it can be modified. So, then what is restraining the government from doing so? Let's be very clear. Pakistan would never agree to any modification because it got an excellent deal. So, India has the second option: optimize the provisions of the treaty or bury it. Now, how to optimize? Burial is the second part. India has not been utilizing 3.6 million acres of permissible storage capacity given to it. So, by default, Pakistan has been getting, apart from 80% water, 3.6 million acre feet of water extra every year. So, poor water development projects have allowed 2.3 million acres feet of water to flow into Pakistan. So, first thing, stop that. Divert it to your dams, divert it to your canals, divert it to your fields. Out of the total estimated capacity of 11,406 kilowatt electricity that can be harnessed from 3 Western, only 3,000 million watt is being tapped so far. Can anybody in the government explain why this negligence? Anyway, these are the ways of utilizing the shortfalls which are because of the inefficiency of the Indian management. But the second one, as I said, it's high time to bring a parity, and that is stop the extra flow to Pakistan. Let the water be shared on the basis of area of the country and the population of the country. and for that purpose take the complete country into consideration because all the rivers and the canals can be interconnected. Why should the arid areas of Maharashtra not get water after Rajasthan, Haryana has been dealt with so it can flow down? We are not responsible for Sahara or Kalahari. We might be if we had sufficient water. Now imagine you Canada with the highest water bans the export of water, and we are giving water free of cost without any inhibition, without any limit to Pakistan, and that way enemy country. Canada would not give it to USA. It might give it sometime, but it's banned to export water. So India needs to have a fresh look at the Indus Water Treaty. And the fresh look means two things. One, reutilizing or fully utilizing its share which is getting and is not using. Second, to have a complete review of the treaty, share water on the basis of area and population, and if Pakistan objects, stop it. You are the upper riparian state, stop all water. Pakistan would beg for it. Or Pakistan can buy it. So start selling it. You might say international obligation, but the treaty itself says it can be modified. So if you abrogate it or if you amend it, it's not a violation of that diplomacy. Let's not remember, let's not forget that charity begins at home. First, let's fulfill the needs of the farmers and the population as far as electricity is concerned in India. And if the water is there, then we can give it. And for that it's necessary that the government wakes up. I don't know what the government is researching, but on this issue they have not been very vocal. And this is the most important weapon they can use for the betterment of India. Would they do it? Let's see. Thank you.